What's going on, guys? So today I'm working on creating some graphics for the marsh area. It's going to be in the lower southwest quadrant of the world map. I've got some plants here. This is a tree I've been using all over the world map that will continue into this area, and I've drawn a fern up here. So this is the NES Maker graphics pixel editor program where you can have all these different tabs open. You can see some of my monsters that I've got here. They give you both 8 and 16 by 16 grids you can edit in. I've got, this is my, this is a default template that comes from the tutorial along with some other items I've created in here. I've got the stick that is used as a melee weapon, and these are health and items that you can pick up. Some of these came with the tutorial, some are things I've put together. I need to modify this extensively so that it's not a boilerplate character template. This is for the rocky area, mountainous area. But what I want to work on today is getting some of these graphics created so I can create a realistic, well, 8-bit realistic looking kind of swampy marsh area. Okay, so now that I have this fern drawn here, I want to test this out on the world map to see how it looks. You can switch back and forth between these design element colors, your black, red, green, blue, and how it actually looks when you apply the palette to it. So this looks okay. It's giving me the same tan color here that I was using kind of as like a dirt or sand for the background. I think I might want to change that and use a different palette for how this actually renders on the world map. But I'm going to go in here and see what I can do to make this look like a marsh. So this I've got, I created an asset here. This is a tree group, so if I'm using this, it'll stamp like 9 trees at a time. So if I make this nothing here, I can come in. That's a little glitchy. Well, in theory, here, let me come off this. Go back down. There we go. So click that. I have a group of 9 trees that already has the collision set up behind the scenes. So this 1 code here means that it's not walkable. It's a solid object, which you set up here. And it actually looks like I don't have really a basic background tile for this. I just have blackness and I have my tree and my ferns. So I'm going to go back into my pixel editor here and see about just creating some kind of basic ground tile that I can use. So let's just do this, and we'll just put a couple dots here. And when that gets replicated a number of times, when it gets tiled out, even just like a single pixel dot can be super impactful on how it appears in the game. I'll go in here, and this tile set actually needs updated here. We're switching that over to the marsh tile set. Fill in these trees here. This one is set as marsh, okay. So now I've got kind of a clearing here. And actually the thing to do would probably be to create an asset, because you see when I updated that, it didn't actually update the collision for it. But if you create an asset, you can set the collision by default. So let me go in here to my assets. I have a sort of nothing asset set up for the mountainous area. What I'm going to do is duplicate that, come down here, and let's rename this to marsh nothing. Or actually, let's do marsh floor. Nothing being true nothing, and then, or let's do mountain ground and marsh ground. We'll do better names for these. And then nothing is nothing, literally blackness. That makes more sense. Okay. And here we've got this all set to null, walkable, has to be set per tile. That looks good. I want to check my other ones to make sure those are set correctly. Yeah, this is looking pretty good. Okay, so in here, the asset for the marsh ground, you can see it's defaulting here to these ferns that I made. I need to set each of these tiles. Speed this up here. And I think I want to use a different color palette. So we are going to go down here to palette 9. And I'm going to want to rename that. But let's just figure out what colors I can use here. So I want this to be very lush and verdant. Although this is just the background tile set, so probably kind of a color that's going to be kind of subdued and not interact or take away from the foreground so much. This looks kind of like mint chocolate chip ice cream. So we're going to have a minty marsh for the moment. Let's go to our... Oh, and always make sure you hit update here. It's kind of confusing that this is like a separate save button from this save button. Because if you click this save button, it's not going to actually save any of the changes you made to this asset. And it's kind of the same down here in the pixel editor too. Like, hit this like a dozen times just to be sure, to make sure that that goes in. And let's go back down here. So we have our minty marsh ground here, and that's overwriting the trees. We need to set our palette for it down here. I thought the palette would have applied automatically, but maybe not. Palette 9. There we go. That doesn't look bad. Yeah, I like this. Okay. Might stick with that. Kind of looks like... it looks like a lot of pieces of broccoli growing up out of the ground. I might need to mess with that a little bit. Let's try and make this a little bit better. That's better. Maybe. Still looks like broccoli to me. I might have to come in and put in some completely different types of trees for this. But this is a start. Okay, I like that. Dark, marshy, swampy kind of vibe. And then I want these fern graphics to work. I think along the bottom of the screen here, that actually looks pretty good. I like that, but I feel like it's not going to, yeah, see, it doesn't look great stacked on top of itself like that. That I'm going to have to figure out, or I'll have to do some other kind of graphics that repeat better vertically, because obviously that's not going to work. These look more like something that would work well as a side scroller, but this is a top-down, kind of like 75% incline perspective view that this game is played in, so that's not really going to work. I'm going to have to play around with that. But as you can see up here, I have a lot of room for additional graphics in here to come in and create anything I want, so we have a lot of room to create different types of plants and things to create a swampy environment. One thing we can do is we can test out this new monster that I created yesterday. This is the gorilla moth. Let's get back to our world map here. I'm going to need to put him in a monster group first. So, let's see. I'm going to create a new monster group. Oh, I have him in this one. Great. I'm going to end up changing this later because this is for a very specific screen for a boss fight, but for the time being, just for testing this out, that's going to work just fine. So let's go to the screen info, and we're going to set the day monster group to boss 1 moss god. And then we have our, see, this is why we name our color palettes. Which one? Okay, let's set this to, there we go. And now that that's set, I can place my gorilla moths And down here, I'm going to set my player. We'll check collision. So let's see. I think the moths can fly, so this isn't going to affect them at all. They'll just go right over top of it. But I'm going to set this as not walkable. And then down here, this should be walkable. And maybe we'll let him walk around down here in these ferns, although that's the edge of the screen, so we don't want him to be able to go off screen because he's going to get stuck down here in these trees. Let's move this up and make this trees, and we'll make this not walkable. Okay, and let's test this out and see what happens. Okay, the graphics are definitely messed up. That's not what it's supposed to be at all. I may have set something incorrectly with the palette. Definitely some configuration issues that we have to sort out here. So what I'm going to do is go back to the monster itself and check that first to see what's going on with that. Where's our gorilla moth? Okay. Tiles 1. That looks correct to me. We have our palette set correctly. We have our different frames here. So this, to me, looks pretty good. That does not appear to be the source of the problem. I do need to set up some of their action and moving steps, which is kind of why they just kind of went off the screen to the top left. When what I want them to do is probably sit for a while in this, this frame. To sit like that, kind of menacingly, and then they take off and they come at you, flap their wings, put them out like this when they go into attack mode. And then it's going to play these different frames while it's attacking. This all looks pretty good here. I probably need to spend some time checking through this. But let's go back down to this overworld tab and look at the screen info to make sure I've got that set right. Because it might be, I think it's the day tile set here that I probably have wrong. Or the monster bank or something. This gets a little confusing in here and a bit glitchy at times. So we're setting the palette here for the colors we want it to be, and then our hero palette should still be set to this one here. I'm going to check again and see if that changed anything. I don't think it did. I think it's still going to be wrong. It's still showing the wrong tiles. Okay, so that's going to take some work to figure out, but this is just the reality of creating old school games like this. You're going to run into these issues and you got to figure them out, but it's fun, right? So thanks for joining me for this Marsh creation video, and I'll have more coming soon. So if you want to keep watching videos on the creation of Swampmaster and NES Maker, we're going to also get into like Fami Studio and creating music for these. Subscribe to my channel, and thanks for watching. Okay, bye.